Monsieur, can my friend get something?
Yeah. Can I have an Americano?
Of course.
And is there a food menu? So Harvey Simpson times.
I come this country couple years ago, everything alright, but music I don't know. You play at the jazz on radio all day long. Now I sing for you good old country song. This song no is jazz, Noril is the name. Maybe you no like, but I sing just the same. Noril, 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 everything Noril in this crazy world. Everything Noril.
You are listening to Filthy Armenian Adventures, and this is your host, Alec Mohibian, and I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. I hope the turkey was perky. I hope the cranberry was merry. I hope the mashed potatoes owned the haters. I hope the corn was porn. And if the stuffing didn't do nothing, I hope at least the pumpkin pie made you sigh with memories of gays gone by. Gay as in happy. Every conversation is a feast when you're talking with Matthew Wilder. He's now a regular and fan favorite of this show. You heard him on Blue Velvet at Bob's Big Boy. You heard him on Shortcuts at Johnny's Broiler. You heard him on Three Women at Café Les Ogres. And today, you'll hear him in an upbeat commiseration over a much bleaker topic, recorded under the glass ceiling of Soho House, Paris during Art Basel in October 2025, which must sound like a veritable matryoshka doll of cultural fraudulence. Matt and I are both victims. At an early age, before our brains were fully formed, we were groomed and molested by art. You may think that we'd be pleased to witness the destruction of our rapist in these times, when art has been disempowered, severely incapacitated in its ability to touch others. But Matt and I are built different. We are magnanimous. While nothing can stop the occasional nightmare or the uninvited bout of PTSD, we eventually come to our senses not with resentment, but with gratitude. We owe a great debt to our abuser for the enriching traumas we have been gifted, and we seek new traumas all the time. Like most rape victims, I once kept a physical journal. Here is a part of an entry from March 20, 2010, written down 2 weeks after my 25th birthday. It goes, "Art is the discovery of the real. What's more elusive than reality? The real is always the most surprising, however familiar, like a punchline. If it doesn't surprise us, if it doesn't shake us, we think of it as the continuation of an infomercial, a sham. Hoffer was right. The deepest, most obvious truths are always the most shocking. Reality is..." No, I won't scare the hose by repeating the final word of that journal entry.
So it's Angelicism 01, and yes, it's an expose of a guy who's lives in a small town in England where there's only a post office and a windy field. He doesn't have internet access. He has to go to the internet cafe or to the library or something. and he somehow has amassed a small Manson girl wave of hot girls with a mixture of extolling Donald Trump, extolling Gilles Deleuze, and most shocking of all, extolling Bret Easton Ellis. Who's ever thought of these three things at the same time? Like, who likes all three of these things? Is there anyone else on Earth that's interested in these three men? But somehow these chicks were like entranced by him and would go and give poetry readings in Chinatown, New York City, and say, "This is dedicated to Angelicism 01. Let me tell you about my crush on my 6th grade English teacher," or whatever. And then somebody had a fight with him. Someone had phone sex with him with FaceTime, and then took a snapshot of it, and apparently slathered Canal Street with photos of Angelicism 01, and said, "Beware this man." But the amazing thing is, he didn't fuck any of these girls. I don't think he met any of them in person.
That's not the amazing thing.
But he also sent them Venmo, contributions.
And that is why we're calling him Harvey Simpstein.
That's what we call him, Harvey Simpstein. This is our meme. This is our counter to the New York Magazine account of Angelicism 01.
You don't have to even be in the same continent with your rape victim anymore. You know.
Is it okay?
Yeah. I'm just trying. It's
sorry,
hard. I can just do it like this. You don't even need to be in the same continent. You don't need to ever.
He wasn't raping. He was giving them money to make whatever their dreadful short films.
And you know what? For that reason alone, he deserved it. He deserved what he deserved it. I will join the chorus.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, I don't even know. But it was kind of an interesting thing, because at the end of this article, I was like, okay, so is he now? This is his cancellation arc, or is it actually a push, a notification, like, hey, maybe you girls will like Angelicism 01, and he'll now get more.
Yeah.
It's like a Vincent Gallo situation. He's going to get more young monkeys.
Well, why do you think he's broken this? How did he get these young monkeys? I mean, nothing you said about Deleuze, Bret Easton Ellis, and Trump. Like, how did this happen? What's the secret sauce?
Well, there's an amazing scene where one of them discovers him through FaceTime and sees that he's actually old. Now, you would think that somebody who's talking about Deleuze and I can't remember who. There's someone else that he named that no young monkey would know, like Joseph Conrad or something.
That's one. I don't know Deleuze. I know Conrad.
You do, but you're not a 20-year-old girl.
No, I'm not a 20-year-old girl. I'm not even a 40-year-old girl.
But I think somehow, this is just my guess, is that somehow they thought this guy was like Rob Pattinson or Jacob Elordi. That he was like...
Why?
The voice, he's British.
Oh, okay. So he has a sexy
Angelicism,
voice.
which is like Anglicism, sort of. I guess.
It's a play on that. I guess. Not a very clever play, but it's a play. It could just mean that I could be an Angelicist, Los Angeles. Where I could have built this cult based on Los Angeles stuff. Los Angelesist.
Maybe you can.
Maybe it's not too late.
But I think maybe you would have to spend money to do it.
Well, probably just to get your initial. I guess you need to seed the e-girls first.
There was some talk that he was really rich, and apparently he's totally not. He's just very average. And then there was also some talk that he was Honor Levy.
Oh my God, that would have been interesting.
And apparently he's not Honor Levy.
No,
not at all.
But maybe she's one of his fans.
I think she was one of his fans.
Perfect. So there you go.
Yeah.
Everything makes sense.
OMG. It was.
So this. Wait, where does this asshole live again? Not asshole. Maybe he's a wonderful guy.
In a tiny town in England.
Oh.
Sounds like a very Thomas Hardy-esque, windswept MP.
At least he doesn't live in Croatia or one of these Balkan
No.
shitholes. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired of these Balkan sages.
No.
You know.
He's swept himself off the internet, but there were a few crumbs, there were a few samples of stuff that he had said. And now to me this is like total deal breaker. Even if it was if you were this girl and it was Jacob Elordi on the other side of the internet, he said Donald Trump's genius is his penis.
No.
Now, if someone said that, which is like almost a rhyme but not quite, okay?
Yeah,
it's
like a Harold Pinter poem.
It's
the kind of poem Harold Pinter would send out to all his friends, like literally 2-line poem, and then expect them to write back. And if they didn't, he would get upset. Like he would expect them to respond.
Yeah,
and one time somebody said he would write little verse and he would send it to all his friends, and he would expect their responses, telling him how just right on the money it was, and how just so great. And then this one time he emailed somebody asking why he never got back to him on the last poem he sent, which was something like, for a time, so and so was in his prime for a time, or I knew so and so soccer player, or tennis player, I knew so and so in his prime for a time. That was the poem he sent out to his friends, and he asked one of them why he never got back, and he said, "Oh, Harold, I haven't finished reading it yet." This is a story. This is a story.
And yet he has a Nobel Prize, and Philip Roth, John Updike, Thomas Pynchon, Don DeLillo, etc., Fred Seidel don't have one. But he did have one.
Yeah.
I saw his Nobel, for some reason I looked up his Nobel lecture in the last year or so. I don't know, have you ever seen it?
No, I haven't seen anybody's Nobel lecture. Except for I've read Faulkner's. And
I've read Faulkner. The Faulkner one is good.
Yeah.
There's a thing. It's not a lecture. There's another thing that the Nobelist has to do, and Bob Dylan did it about his favorite books. It's not like the speech. It's some other. It's like a master class.
Uh-huh.
He did a fantastic job.
Dylan?
Fantastic.
Where is this?
It's on YouTube.
Oh my god!
I think literally the Nobel Committee they have a YouTube channel where they have people do this.
I'd love
He did a fantastic job.
Okay, I'll watch it.
But Pinter's thing is, and I think he got the Nobel in 2008 or 9. It was like about around then. And he gives this torrid speech attacking George Bush and the occupation of Iraq at a time when absolutely everyone in the world agreed that George Bush was the dumbest person in the world, and he gives this speech like he's daring the king, standing in front of him, and he's about to get a sword in his chest, and it's the most especially to hear it now. It's the most incredibly banal thing. I would love to hear Harold Pinter talk about theater and talk about mystery and talk about pauses. He does that.
Talk about blocking. Talk about lighting. Talk about. I am a total homo for shop talk about the theater.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I've read Alan Ayckbourn, if that's how you pronounce his name. I've read his memoir but just like book about playwriting. He has like a book on, the craft of playwriting. I love that shit. I can lap that shit up. I'll read all David Mamet's shit about playwriting, which is everything he writes. Everything he writes is about basically theater, the craft of theater. Whether it's about politics or anything else, it's all about the craft of theater. That's how he sees everything. I love that shit. I lap it up. Do I need to hear what Harold Pinter has to say about George or any of the Bushes ever in my life? Or any political thing ever? He was a total moron. I mean, he was an idiot. Yes, please. Oh, I need this so bad.
Where did you get that green notebook? Alec has a beautiful. It looks like sheet music.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. It's I'll have the omelet.
Okay.
And does that come with anything?
Herbs. Salad.
Salad? Okay, that's good. Okay, that's good for now. Thank you.
Et monsieur, j'ai eu un pain au chocolat.
Ooh.
Okay.
And a water. Just water. Well, I'm going to have one of those
We're supposed to
later,
have a
too.
water too.
Yeah, where's the
We're
water?
supposed to get a bottle of water.
Pain au chocolat. I'm going to have one of those later.
They're really good here.
Ooh.
They're really good here.
This is the land of pain au chocolat we're in. But we're at the Soho House, Paris.
We're in the Soho House, Paris, which has kind of you can't really call this a skylight, but it has sort of like upper deck windows.
Skylight.
It's a sort of Napoleonic building. It's beautiful.
It's very nice. Of all of the ones I've been to, so far, this is the nicest.
I will tell you the nicest that I've been to by far. I was just there. Is the Soho Istanbul, which was a house built by what they call a genuine merchant. To me, that sounds like a gangster, like a bootlegger or something.
Or an Armenian.
Like an Armenian kind. He built this house that looks like Burt Lancaster's house in The Leopard. It's that kind of 19th century oligarch wallpaper that goes up to the ceiling. We had a au pétillant coming to us.
Did you?
I was sitting right over there, but we moved
yeah. Okay.
over
So
here.
we didn't need it. I'll bring it.
Okay, thank you. But it was a genuine merchant's. They sold it in 1888 to make it the American embassy in Turkey. And it was that, oh, monsieur. Thank you.
Unfortunately, we're out of croissants and pain au chocolat. Would you like
No!
to see the dessert menu?
Yes.
What a tragedy.
This place was the American embassy in Turkey. And then during the Obama era, they sold it to Soho House. Thank you, sir. And it is so stunning. It's not like anything else about it is that great. It's the same menu and everything, but oh my God. People listening to this, Google images of this place and your head will explode.
I can see it.
For sure.
There is a lot of opulence in Istanbul.
Is there?
Well, I mean,
I
yeah.
didn't see much.
Well, have you been to the Parapalace Hotel?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait, I think that's
Is that it?
I think that's part of it.
No, wait. Well, the Parapalace Hotel wasn't the American Embassy. It's a
I
very
feel like I
fancy
must have- I
old
must have
hotel.
seen it.
It's a grand old hotel with a tea room to kill. It has the Hemingway room where he would stay. I think the Churchill room, the Agatha Christie room where she would stay when she wrote Orient Express.
I wish you had told me this because I would have gone.
Oh, I should have told you. When you said Istanbul, well, next time you go.
I stayed in the touristic part, which is,
It's
where
in the touristic part.
The Blue Mosque and Hagia Sophia are.
Yeah, well, it's in Taksim, I think. Or
Yeah,
close.
I remember someone mentioning it and pointing it out to me.
It's great. It was.
Is it on the Asian side or the European side?
Oh, I think it's on the European side.
Monsieur, can I order? Can I get one carrot cake?
Of course.
But this place, you will be stunned.
It sounds
You'll be
great.
stunned by Soho Istanbul. I was a little disappointed. I was just in Soho, Rome. And I was also, by the way, I don't know if you've ever been there, but I was really disappointed by Rome.
I've been only when I was 20 with my dad and with the family trip, so we were there for a few days.
So did you see the big sites?
I saw the big sights, yeah, but I didn't do any partying or anything like
I
this.
didn't see the big sites, but it was a little bit like the stuff that I remember in Fellini's Roma, where it's like you feel like the city is in a constant garbage strike. There's graffiti everywhere.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's different than it was literally 20 years ago. It was 20 years ago. But
I stayed in a hotel that was, and I mean this literally. Picture in your mind a Dario Argento horror movie set in the office of a department store. Like a Mussolini-era department store with white marble staircases.
I didn't
and
want to picture
dark
that.
hallways at night.
Is this in a good way or in a bad way?
In a super bad way.
Oh, okay.
Like literally, when you went to sleep at night and you pulled the little cover over your chin, you felt like a guy with black leather gloves was about to come in and like.
I thought I couldn't think of a way it could be a good way, but I didn't want to trample over your artistic license to enjoy that.
Fully not. I mean, it's anyone out there who wants to make an independent horror film in Italy set in a macabre department store. I've got the place for you, but
a macabre.
Wow.
Well, this reminds me of where I went to fetch your phone last.
Oh, wait! You went to a Chinese.
I went to a Chinese fashion mall in which somehow there was an Uber office secretly buried, and I had to find that Uber office before they closed, which was the clock was ticking. I think, and I was freaking out. I was like, and they're all Chinese people. Nobody knows it. Like. But I said Uber, and they're like, oh, that way. I went up to the third floor, off completely, it was just the weirdest place for anything to be in history. I felt like I was in some sort of, Dario Argento movie.
Now,
but Chinese.
I was, not long ago, I was in Hong Kong for the first time, and I was in a hotel that was, like, plugged into a mall. So I went in the mall, looked around, and the Hong Kong... and I'm using air quotes here, you can't see, fashion was just...
They could hear your air
They
quotes.
had the same... They actually had the same mall fashion in Istanbul. I bought this pair of shoes in Istanbul.
Oh, nice.
Which Chloe Valentine, I'm not sure if you're friends with her,
I don't
told me, she was like, oh, no, those are good. I was like, I don't know anything about shoes. You're homosexual. You may know something about shoes.
I don't know.
I don't. I said, are these okay? I just bought them
They're
to
nice.
have sneakers to wear in the gym. And she was like, no, those are actually good.
What's the brand? I don't even...
It's some brand. It's called like hold on, let's see. It's what all the John May. That's all the pseudo British things in Turkey are all
John May.
All the shoes are all called John May.
That sounds like the kind of guy who would have founded Angelicism.
Oh my God! Maybe John May is.
Are these one and the same?
Is Angelicism?
Maybe he's Angelicism 1. What is it? Angelicism.
Angelicism 01.
01. What does the 01 stand for? What's the point of the 01? Is this like the first rendition?
I don't know.
There's going to be an 02 at some point?
I don't know. Is there a tradcath element to this?
I don't speak tradcath.
Is tradcath still a thing? Is anyone still practicing it?
I mean, in the sense that everything that's dead is still a thing that people practice because they have nothing better to do, yeah. It's still happening.
Was it ever sincere?
No. I mean, okay.
We have a friend in common who practices it, but who I think practiced it before it was a thing, so I think they're sincere.
that?
Pride.
Oh, right, yeah. No,
I think is very sincere.
Pariah's case it's sincere. And I think that even in Dasha's case it's sincere. I mean, Dasha's the patient zero of Tradcath.
I don't know her, so I don't know her.
I don't know. I'm not close with her either. But I know enough of the history and I can just analyze from a distance. She's the one who made this a thing, 100%. It's easy to discount the power of that show, but one shouldn't do that. I mean, it's very influential, and she even before, from the beginning, she made it. Well, she's the reason why nowadays you can walk around New York and see a bunch of gay boys wearing crosses, and they're not upside down. Or you walk anywhere, you go into a club, into a gay rave, and you'll see gays wearing, cross earrings or whatever, and they're not upside down. Whereas I'd say even 10 years ago, the majority of crosses you would see hanging from gays in big cities would be upside down, which means Satanism bullshit.
But I think comes from Madonna.
Oh, I don't know.
Wasn't there a Madonna? When you say gays cross upside down, I have this Madonna picture in my head.
It could very well be. I don't know if she did anything satanic.
Like in the sex book. No, I don't think she meant to be satanic.
No, I never heard of her being satanic. But it was just Lady Gaga. I mean, AHS American Horror Story is all satanic, all of it.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, I mean that's the story of the whole thing.
So are you okay? Are you into that stuff?
Satanism?
Not like no, I don't mean like you practice it, but I mean
No,
like are you
no.
a believer in
No.
it or
I do believe that it's bad. I mean, I do believe that you don't have to look very hard or very far to see the connection between believing in that stuff and falling off a balcony to your death at 34. You know, and I like every single one of these people meets a terrible end.
Well, there's a weird thing going on now, which I don't know if you saw this week, but a good friend that we have in common, Conrad. You know Conrad.
Yes, Conrad Flynn, of course.
I think he kind of doesn't want people to say talk about his associations or whatever. But anyway,
But
Conrad
he went on
was
Tucker,
on Tucker.
after all this being secretive, he went on Tucker.
So Conrad was on Tucker. Now Conrad, is a guy. He's a friend that we have in common who is fascinated by the occult and pop culture.
Is this mine?
I think it's just old dead water.
Oh, okay. What happened to my water? I thought I poured water into something. Can I have a glass for the water? A second, another glass? Thank you.
But here's the thing I thought was really weird. Oh shit! I didn't get a fork.
Uh-oh.
Well, I'll get a spoon. I got a spoon. No. You've got to eat real food. So Conrad went on Tucker and talked about all this occult stuff. About, there's obviously a million connections between Aleister Crowley and whatnot. And he talked a lot about Nick Land, who's a thinker. I don't really know his work, but Conrad talks a lot about him. What's the name of the guy who's Peter Thiel's speechwriter?
Holly
Honor Levy's boyfriend.
Oh,
Sam. He's friends with Brett.
He's been to some dinners, right? I think we've met him. I think I've met him, but I don't know who he is.
Well, yes, he was at the pizza thing.
Yeah, the pizza things.
So these people are really into Nick Land, who's like accelerationism, which I think the idea of it is like, let's get to the end of the world really quick. Let's make things worse so we can crash and burn. So Conrad was presenting this stuff in a way that was just very factual and like, wow, isn't this interesting? Look at this. This happened here. Brian Wilson, shook hands with Charles Manson, blah, blah, blah. And Tucker took it into this, like, these people are evil. And this guy, Nick Land, that you're talking about, he's like the nexus of evil. And it was kind of weird because I thought Conrad was not really painting it like, I believe all these things. But Tucker was painting it like, I really do believe in all these things. And I believe in the devil. And I
gotta be honest. I hesitate to. I feel like I'm not going to understand for sure what Tucker is until I actually meet him, if that ever happens, which is unlikely.
I think it's super likely.
Well, whatever. I mean, whether it's likely or not, I cannot, I can't take anyone's word for him except Anna's, who I trust, who's met him. I can't take it. She's the only one I would trust to like have a real sense of him, who he is, because he's clearly a performer, and he's clearly plays shit up for the audience. And to me, I don't believe for a second that his enthusiasms for all this kooky shit that he's been, engaged in, I don't think that they're all 100% genuine. I don't think it's possible.
Well, here's the thing. Like he and Candace, I feel like they didn't. It wasn't exactly simultaneously, but they both kind of went that way at the same time. And I just look at this and go, I feel like there's some financial advisor out there that said, look, you can sit around and talk about taxes all day long, but if you get into UFOs, and Macron's penis and whatever, then
of course
you're gonna make 4x the money you made.
Yeah, but I don't think it was I don't think there's any financial advisor. I think they're both smart enough in their worlds to know and instinctively understand what they're doing. I think it was. I think they're the ones. They're the brains behind their own operation. I would guess. I mean, I would.
Oh, a beautiful omelet
Lovely
and a beautiful
omelet.
salad.
Thank you. Do I have some tobacco sauce? I think. I mean, maybe there is some brains behind, but I don't think so, because Candace seems like she's on her own crack. She's got her own candy that she seems to really know what she's doing. Thank you. I thought that I was like, how is she going to remain relevant after the initial novelty of her being a black woman who's super conservative wears off? Because she's really the first black woman. She was the first black woman, of note, who made it big as a conservative. There have been several black conservatives going back decades to Thomas Sowell.
Sure.
Even before that, George Schuyler. Much smarter. These guys are much more interesting minds than Candace Owens, okay? George Schuyler's great, by the way. You should read his... He was like an old school...
Yeah, I don't know him that well.
Yeah, he was published by Mencken in the American Mercury, and he was the real deal, and he wrote with a revolver by his typewriter. But she's the first woman, as far as I'm aware, who was a black conservative intellectual type. And I was like, well, once the novelty of off the plantation wears off, where do you go from there? And dang, she's never been bigger.
But I think she was quite good. I know people kind of rate her lowly now, but her takes, I get annoyed now a little bit by how red meat Megyn Kelly is. She's always yelling about some celebrity, she's yelling about Meghan Markle. I'm like, I don't care about Meghan Markle, okay? If you weren't mentioning her, I wouldn't even remember that she exists, so stop. But Candace's critiques, I thought, were, when she would critique DEI kind of stuff, were smart. She was sometimes really funny. She is, as you say, Tucker is a performer. She's a really good performer. But then obviously she went into this really nutty shit, and Tucker's now into really nutty shit.
And it gets clicks, and it gets attention.
I guess so. I just know a lot of people on the right who complained about the movie Eddington and the characters, like Emma Stone's mother and so on, who were wingnuts who believed in crazy shit.
But that was the good part of it.
But they're like, oh, this is a mockery of blah blah blah, and I'm like,
yeah.
I think people out there there are people that are dumber and more nuts than even those characters were.
Okay, I think Eddington was a giant flaming piece of shit that should disqualify Ari Aster from making another movie for 10 years. I think it was a total coward.
I kind of love it.
I know you do, but it was a total cowardly cop out. It was because he knows better. He's not like Paul. He's not a retard like Paul Thomas Anderson, who doesn't know shit anymore, and who's become a Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Maya Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer brain nobody now, based on this last movie. He actually knows. Ari Aster's he's a Red Scare faggot. He knows what's up, and he's a coward. And that's what this was a work of cowardice that he balanced the scales, evened things out, tried to scramble it all together to make us all equally guilty in the crime against humanity that was COVID. But the good thing about his movie, and this was exactly that, was his portrayal of the conspiratard, brain-poisoned Alex Jones mom, and how that she rubs off on her daughter.
What I loved in that was, and I think this is really genius, and I think it redeems a lot in that movie, is that at the end, these absolutely couldn't be more wacky, the mother, UFO mom and friends appear on the dais at the launch of the new AI company. And I thought that was just a brilliant comment on how even the most fringy, the most wacky, whatever, can get, reabsorbed into respectability we give them a hat and pretend that they're important. And
But that's just him making fun of Trump.
no, I think that's making fun of the
I don't know.
the institutional qualities of the world.
Well, he's very lucky to have such kind fans as you, and such forgiving and so generous. But
Don't you think 10 years from now, Nick Fuentes is going to be sitting at the dais at the opening of like an AI company next to President Vance?
I don't think that's going to happen.
You don't?
No, I don't. Despite the fact that Nick Fuentes is being is being given this global, all hands on deck, incessant blowjob that we're all having to experience and witness and watch. We're seeing every girl we know walk up to him and suck his dick in front of us, just to make us watch. Mr. Make us watch him slobber on his little tiny Mexican penis. Does not mean that I think that he will be the king of the world in this like Megalopolis 2 in dystopian fashion. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that his immense talents are greatly exaggerated, however real they may be, and I think that he's just another.
He's an entertaining broadcaster.
I'm sure he is, and there are many
100%.
entertaining broadcasters. Tucker's also an entertaining broadcaster, and so is Candace Owens. Will I spend a minute of my life watching either one of them? No. Why? Because I'm 40. I'm 40 years old, and life is short. I don't have time for this shit.
Did you ever?
I don't have time.
Were you alive for the? Were you alive for the heyday of Rush Limbaugh?
Of course I was. Rush Limbaugh is Michael Jordan to these people's.
Oh yeah.
To these people's Adam Sandler playing basketball.
I spent many years. I lived in San Diego, and I would have meetings in LA, and I would drive my crummy car back and forth from San Diego to LA, and sometimes I would listen to Rush go. And the thing that and I know like super far left, like crazy left people who will admit this is. Rush Limbaugh could take the slowest news day of the week. John McCain slipped on some ice today and hurt his elbow. And could spin it into 5 hours that absolutely had you riveted like a fucking murder mystery.
He's a genius.
He could sit there and just take anything and extemporaneously turn it into...
He's a total genius. And,
yeah.
I'm excited to listen to his show again. It's archived. It's like easy to listen to it, I think, somehow. I'm going to go on TPN in like a year from now, whatever. It's going to be a while, but there's an episode scheduled on Rush Limbaugh in the future. So I'll be listening to those old... Now, my first ever talk radio memories are Rush Limbaugh when I was in kindergarten. My dad would pick me up from Kendrick Canyon and take me to, he would pick me up during the week at some place. My folks were already separated. He would take me to Century City Shopping Mall several renovations ago. That old food court.
Sure.
He would get the Mexican. There was a Mexican place there, not one of the chains. If it was a chain, it's no longer recognizable to me. But it was
that food court was amazing.
That food court was paradise. That had the Johnny Rockets with the inside and out, but both the indoor and outdoor facades, right? It had a
Korean barbecue thing was awesome.
I don't remember anything but the Johnny Rockets and the Mexican place because I was so young, and those were the two that obsessed me. And he would get tacos. I would always take a few bites of his tacos, soft shell, tortilla tacos, whatever. And in the car, I would hear Rush Limbaugh at those hours. It was still because it was kindergarten, ended early, so it was still here. Here it would be from 9 a.m. to noon, Rush Limbaugh hours. That was the very first talk radio I'd ever heard in my life, and he continued to be a big presence in my life. And although the talk radio guys that I actually got converted by were the more local ones, Larry Elder being the main one, the ones who by the time I got old enough to start to contend with things, they were the ones who I listened to more because they were on after school from 3 to 7, not during school from 9 to 12. But then I would wake up to Rush Limbaugh in high school in the summertime. I'd have my alarm set at 9 a.m. to KFI 640, so I'd wake up to him. Dun, 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 dun. That would be my alarm. And so I'd listen. I subscribed to all his shit. I have somewhere his Limbaugh letter where he interviews Camille Paglia, and it's great. But I don't know where it is. I wish it's somewhere in my childhood papers.
Text.
It's like a little magazine. The
Is it a
Limbaugh letter.
transcription of an interview, or is it like just
it was
written
published. It's a written thing. I mean, I'm sure it's a transcription of an oral interview that he did with her. I'm assuming, but I mean, it was specifically for his magazine. He had a Limbaugh letter for fanatics, and it was a little thin magazine. You get once a month, and that's what it was 1 month. And I had it. So I have it somewhere, and I can't find any evidence of this online. Although I'm sure it's available somewhere, but I can't find it because it's probably like buried deep in like Limbaugh museum paraphernalia, whatever. But I mean, he created that entire format, and it was all it's one man. I mean, it's all one man. He doesn't have a staff of writers. He has a staff. I'm sure he has producers and stuff like that. He would take phone calls only 1 day a week on Fridays. So he wasn't like coasting on stupid people calling in, not that that's not an art too. I mean, Dr. Laura is amazing. I also would listen to Dr. Laura all the time. There's a lot of you could do with the call-ins, but he didn't deal with call-ins. He was just one man, just doing the whole fucking thing on his own. He had a great parodist, Paul Shanklin. I reviewed all his parodies. He released all his parodies on CDs. I reviewed it for Claremont Review of Books way back when I was 19. Limbaugh's at a different level. See, this is the thing. Like, this is why my standards for people like Tucker, Candace Owens, and whoever else might be named are higher. I'm not that easily impressed, even though, you have to give credit where it's due. Obviously, Tucker and Candace Owens have a huge have a showmanship and charisma. It's not my cup of tea because I grew up on Rush Limbaugh and that quality. And he's just at a different level. It's just a different level, and it's not a level that depends upon him trafficking in horse shit. That's the thing. Like, he didn't traffic in horse shit.
Well, I think, there's a tough thing now, which is, I think the whole, it's the rain,
pounding down. I should have brought my umbrella, but I didn't. Unfortunate for me.
The rain is beginning to fall over our heads. I think it is hard for there to be any kind of hot take-osphere when you have the President of the United States writing on these giant cue cards, these executive orders, that are saying the same things that these people are saying.
Right.
But you're getting it from the White House, and it's an executive order. It's actually going into, in some form or fashion, it's going into process. It's becoming a reality. And so how are you going to be, Twitter anon number 6 and be some sort of edgelord or whatever and resonate when, you see this now. Trump's own Truth Social and his Instagram, if somebody does some really wacky, shocking, eye-opening meme, he repeats it.
Yeah.
And just, tweets it out to the world. So, where does the discourse go when it's all coming from the top now?
Well, no, why does it have to go anywhere? Let's just enjoy the show. I
agree.
Let's enjoy the Trump show while we have it.
I agree.
And do you know that they just discovered a shooter's hideout in a tree with a full view, with a full angle on where the Air Force One lands in West Palm Beach? Yeah. They just found.
This isn't that guy, the golf club guy.
No. This is now. This is yesterday. They found whatever it's called, a tree hideout for a shooter, for a hunter,
A nest.
a nest with a perfect view and an easy angle on Donald Trump exiting Air Force One in West Palm Beach. So anytime I hear something like that, and I'm trying to go to sleep at night, I get, shivers.
Where did you hear this?
Scott Adams was talking about it. It's a news item. It's not some sort of esoteric thing.
And they didn't find the guy who.
All we know is that they found the thing. There's no confirmation that it's intentional but
Right.
you could. I mean, what else could it be?
Right.
Some accidental. Someone who's going to be hunting like the seagulls over.
I've not heard anything about this.
I don't want to belabor something that is as dark and infuriating as this, but we know what world we're living in. We know what world we're living in, and it's not going to stop. One battle after another. We're not out of it's not going to stop. Why would it stop? It's still that world. It's still these people are completely deranged. So I say that we have 3.5 years of this left, but let's not take any of it for granted.
I think we may have 1.5 years of it left.
Well,
I mean, there may be, who knows that the total control.
Oh,
may
yeah.
persist.
Well, there's that too. Yeah, there's that too. But I'm just in general. But the point being, he's the Rush Limbaugh. The Rush Limbaugh is the president now, in the sense that the funniest conservative, the most charismatic, the most brilliant, and also the most original is Trump, and he's in the White House, and he's very expressive of himself. Every time he's on camera, and every time he's tweeting, and yet he's better than Candace. He's better than Tucker. He's better than all these people who are.
He's doing stuff, is what I'm saying. Is he's doing it. It's not like here's a recommendation from the audience. He's actually doing it.
Yeah, he is, and the audience keeps deluding themselves into thinking that they're the ones calling the shots, which is true that he listens. He's the most listening president we've ever had. I mean, if there's any kind of idea that his base or that his pseudo base feels strongly about, it gets to his attention. If there's
I will tell you that while all this all the harumph thing about Trump being a fascist was going on, I spent a month and I shouldn't say anything too bad because we're going to need their foreign pre-sales for our movie, but I was in Turkey for a month, and everyone was saying authoritarian, fascist, blah 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 blah. Trump
in Turkey?
No. I mean in America.
Oh yeah.
So while I was there, one thing that I noticed very strongly, like in Milan Kundera's novels, he's obsessed with that notion of the pain that's inflicted by your government filters down to the most intimate interactions and the most everyday events of your life, that you feel it in your own actual life. And I saw people in Turkey, the day that I arrived, there was some really minor protest against Erdogan in Istanbul. And so he throttled the internet of the entire country. You couldn't see your own email. I had to go get like a VPN in Switzerland or something like that to be able to
carrier pigeon.
Yeah, to see that. At the same time, he also I had no idea of this, and I've never encountered this anywhere else in the world. They have no financial apps in Turkey. There is no PayPal. There is no Venmo. There is no Zelle. There is no Cash App. There's nothing. And I asked someone, why is this the case? It's so hard to do anything here. And they said, well, Erdogan went to the likes of Peter Thiel and said, you guys should build an office in Istanbul and put, PayPal on the outside, and then we'll tax you 20% of every transaction that happens in Turkey and so on. And of course these guys said, we're not going to fucking do that. This is something on your phone. You punch a button. We need to go there and build an office and be taxed. This is an application. So there's this huge black market economy and everything's cash and so on. And you realize that this guy doesn't give a fuck what people experience or think in his own country. And Donald Trump, the king, cares what everyone thinks about everything.
Yeah.
He's someone who is sensitive to everyone's commentary on everything. If some guy, that he hates, if Chuck Schumer raised his eyebrow at the wallpaper in his office, he'd have a conniption fit. He is sensitive to everyone's reactions to everything.
He cares. Otherwise, he wouldn't be doing what he's doing.
That's part of his genius is the antenna.
Yeah, I mean, clearly he's developed that antenna over the decades by being who he is. I mean, he's, every little detail. My favorite moments from his new administration, from this version of him, for all the great ones that there have been, and that we just sort of take for granted now because it happens so frequently. But my personal favorites are the camera catching him going around the roof of the White House, checking in on the renovation of the ballroom, doing a sound test in the courtyard for a big gala that was going to happen that night, and testing the sound and doing all the little things that one does when one feels completely responsible for a production and for something. Those are the things that that have spoken to me the most.
Yeah.
You just get it. You see him do that, and you get it. This is why he became who he became, because he cares about every little aspect. He understands the importance of every little thing. And that's very. I mean, it's just how can you not love that?
Yeah, and what you were saying about the theatrical
to
shop talk of Mamet.
Yeah, the thing goes right to that.
It is that. That's why he's the head of the Kennedy Center.
Right.
All right, now before I depart, I wanted to.
Wait, you're departing?
I got to leave at 6.
Well, we have time, don't we? Oh,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Can we talk about the concept that I pitched you on talking about, which is the death of art?
Hey, this is your host, Alec Mohibian, with a quick message before we continue. Based in that great but very troubled place, Hollywood, California, Filthy Armenian Adventures is an interdimensional travel program that takes you deep into the cultural mysteries of our time. In search of truth, in search of gold, in search of lost friends and unsung heroes, in search of John Galt's motor. This show is your antidote to the black pill. This is your guide to the places, the personalities, the ideas and creations the enemies of man don't want you to know. This is your techno-noir investigation into the good, the evil, and the God hiding under our noise. This is where you get the news before it breaks, before it blows, before it burns. The show is supported entirely by patrons at patreon.com/filthyarmenian. As a patron, you get access to twice as many adventures, including the most important ones, the ones with the real facts. Plus, regular brief smoke break spiritual reports on topics of the day. As a patron, you also get exclusive access to our Smash live events. Ask anyone who's attended one, and they will tell you it's an experience you'll never forget. It's very easy to keep Filthy Armenian Adventures alive. You can still listen to the show on your favorite app like Spotify or Apple, and you can do so with the pride that you're putting a little bit of money where your soul is. More patrons means more fuel, more topics, more investigations, more miracles, more secret locations, and forbidden territories around the world, and the world that is Los Angeles, our post-apocalyptic headquarters. It means we'll be able to track down more enchanting figures in the landscape, dare them to abandon their masks, and join our quest out of the darkness and into a golden age. Patreon.com/filthyarmenian. Thank you for being one of the good ones, and enjoy the show. And that does it for the free portion of this episode for the full 2-hour conversation where Matt and I dissect the death of art. Subscribe to the show on Patreon at patreon.com/filthyarmenian. You'll get access to twice as many feature-length adventures, plus regular smoke break mini episodes on spiritual gossip of the day. I appreciate you listening. Spread the word. Maybe get a subscription as a gift for somebody who needs help in being guided to what is real. Thank you for listening. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving, and see you on the other side of the paywall.